What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today is podcast number 19, and I'm turkey excited. What's up?
Welcome to our Turkey podcast special.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm jacked up. I haven't been made it out yet, but I'm all excited. Look at me. I got my turkey hunting
Yeah,
sweatshirt on. I got
yeah,
my NWTF stars and bars hat
yeah.
on. I'm all jacked up.
Well, we were just talking before we went live here, and you're planning a little turkey hunt this Saturday.
Yes, I am. I'm
Where are you headed?
finally going to
What's
make it out.
what's
I
the
think
plan?
I'm going to hit the side mountain right now. I'm going to hit that first at daylight, see if I hear anything. Because basically, this is going to be the maiden voyage. It's going to be going out and scouting. This is gonna be a scouting trip, actually.
This is public land, right?
Yes. Yep. Because I have. It's been raining all the time, every weekend, and crappy, and I just haven't made it over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we mentioned before in the podcast, I was selling a car, and then I've been working on a tractor now for a week and a half. Got it fixed today finally. I've had some stuff going on in life here. It
Well, we
just
had
happened.
better weather in April. We had
Yeah.
warmer weather in April because it's cold here too.
Yeah. Now next week's supposed to clean up a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
we're excited. Dave, you shot a bird.
I did. I shot a
Ooh,
bird.
turkey
So
special.
my new farm that I got last year, I went turkey hunting on. Last year, no luck. This year
Did you
was
see
different.
anything?
Last year, I didn't make it to the third weekend of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and we heard them in the morning, but never
Okay.
saw them.
All
But
right.
they were in there. I think
They're there.
just they were probably just shot up.
Okay.
Um, but I had an experience Saturday last weekend. I drove up and basically I just sat on the edge of the field, and every time I usually go there around this time of year, early in the morning, you do hear them gobbling.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple places. There's lots of them there. Um, I set up right on the edge of the field. I sat right on the edge, looking out into the field. I got in there about 5:30, and I heard about. I think I heard three separate groups of them. One off to my left, one behind me, and like a single one off to the right.
Nice.
And it broke daylight, and I'm sitting there sipping on some coffee, and next thing you know, I heard somebody calling. There were,
Mm.
and I heard the same thing last year. So I heard this guy calling off to my right, and then I heard a guy calling kind of off to my left in front of me a little bit.
Oh wow.
So I'm sitting there, and after they started calling, the birds had went silent,
Oh no.
and I thought,
You
you know,
thought the gig was up.
yeah, I thought it was over with. So um, and at daybreak, I put out just a very few little yelps with my mouth call, just to kind
Mm-hmm.
of let something know I was there. And
Mm-hmm.
I did have a decoy out. I was using a fan, artificial fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I set that right out about 15 yards out in front of me. And I guess it was about 6:50. These guys were still hammering calls. I mean, they were just, and they were doing the same thing last year.
Maybe they were calling back and forth to each other.
Yeah, probably were. It
That's
was
funny.
just too much.
Yeah.
Well, next thing you know, I'm sitting there. I look off to my left, all the way down the edge of the field. It's probably about 250 yards. I saw this black thing,
Mm.
and I got a picture on my phone, and I looked at it, and it was a turkey. It was a cell
Hmm.
cam. I was like, all right, here we go. And I basically just yelped like twice, and then he fired off, hammered, gobbling.
Mm.
Next thing you know, another gobble, boom, 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 boom. It was like three or four different birds. So I just basically, I was had my knee, had the gun up, and I just kind of turned off to my left, just ever so slightly, because I knew they would work their way down the edge. So I just basically sat there for 15 minutes. They slowly got closer, and it was three Jakes, two Longbeards, and they had a hen with them. So the hen worked its way all the way down the field, and it actually got within like maybe 5 feet of me.
Oh my.
It was the coolest thing to have a hen that close to me. And she kind of, was looking at me a little bit. I just kind of looked down at the ground. She walked off, and then here comes the gobblers. and they were about, I'd say about 10 yards to my left, and they got spooky.
Mm.
So heads were bright red. They were gobbling 10 yards away, and then all of a sudden they got spooky, and I just hurry up, kind of turned a little bit, and boom, shot it. And that was my first turkey on the new property, and
Mhm.
it was an awesome experience.
That's
And
your second PA bird
no, it would be
or third?
third PA bird.
Third.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was a fun experience. That was probably the
Yeah, we got two. You got two at the farm at the
yeah.
last farm,
Hmm.
and then now you're
Yeah.
okay. You got the third one. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. That was the funnest, probably funnest turkey hunt I've ever been on.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's neat when it all comes together like
It
that.
is. And it
Now,
doesn't always play out that way.
right, right.
So I'm not saying, if anybody's going
Yeah, you
turkey
could have got
hunting.
screwed up royally with them two guys.
Well, it's just an example. I thought in my mind that it was done for,
Hmm.
because the birds went silent. They were calling.
Yeah,
And I want to say this, that I am by no means um, a good turkey hunter. Like, I would say I'm amateur at best. I did learn from some guys years ago up in New York. I went with them, and they kind of taught me what I do know. And
mm,
I have killed birds over the years, but I'm not an expert by any means. So I just assumed that with them guys calling like that, they were over calling.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Spooked them a little bit, and they just kind of came out to the field to kind of get away from that. Or I don't know, but it worked out.
Now, would these guys calling? Would they be on your lease,
No,
or
no, no,
they
no. They
they
were
were
off on their own properties.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. But my property is long and narrow.
Okay,
So when somebody kind of is calling off, to the side, it does kind of have a direct effect,
yeah.
being that the property's so narrow.
Well, at least they respected the landowner and stayed out of there.
Last year, they didn't. We had a guy walk straight through the property line with a pop-up ground blind, a
Mm.
decoy, and he was carrying a shotgun last year. And we drove up on that guy. We found out who it was, and we went to their house. And me and Zach, we pulled up in the driveway. This is a funny story. Pulled up in the driveway, and it was a long driveway, so we kind of parked at the end.
Hmm.
So we just, we slowly walked up the driveway, and we saw this lady carrying this little miniature dog down the steps. And then when she got down to the bottom, she set the dog down, and then she looked up, and she saw us walking up the driveway. She hurried up and picked the dog up and ran back up the steps and ran in the house. And I told Zach, I said, dude, let's just go. You know what I mean? So we kind of waited there, and like 50 yards away from the house, and this guy, he come out and he's like, what's up? I said, hey man, we just want to talk to you for a second. I said, we're, hunting the property next door. And he come down, and we basically showed him the trail camera picture of himself, and he said it wasn't him, but it was him.
Oh,
And I said, yeah, we got, we're having some issues here, and we, you know, showed him the picture, and he's like, oh yeah, I haven't turkey hunted in about 20 years or so.
oh
I
well.
said, well, we're just letting you know that property's monitored, and we got some people on trail camera, and nobody's allowed there. And he never came back.
Yeah.
So
Funny how that happens.
it is funny. But I'm jacked up so much. I'm going again this Saturday.
Now, I actually got dressed last week and went out, and I drove to a spot where I know there was a bird, and
Hmm.
it was just pouring rain.
It was.
And I just drove out there, and I put the window down, and I was sitting there just listening. And if that bird would have gobbled once, I would have probably got out of the car and got soaked.
Hmm.
But the bird never made a peep, and I just sitting there with the window open, I got all wet.
Yeah.
So I packed it in and said, "Heck with this, man. I'm gonna. There's lots of season left."
Well, I was watching the weather the entire time, like the whole week leading up to it,
Yeah.
because I had my last consulting trip on Sunday. So I was kind of watching the weather, and I didn't leave Friday until 6 p.m.
Mm,
because I checked the weather again, and it had that break in the morning, from
mhm.
like 5 a.m. to about 10 a.m.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going for it. So I drove up, and luckily it didn't rain at all. But on the way home, it was snowing.
Yeah.
I saw flurries. It was pouring down rain, and then Sunday I had my last consulting trip of the year up in it was right above Harrisburg in Milton, PA.
Okay.
Guy has an awesome piece of property. Um, it's all ag with very small patches of woods, but we walked the entire property in rain gear. I mean, it just poured down. On the way home, this is funny. If anybody lives in that area or knows this restaurant that I'm gonna talk about, drop a comment and let us know. But we stopped at this so-called famous restaurant called Skeeter's. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Have you?
I think you told me about it though before.
Oh, I just found out about it.
Oh, okay. It's not the one on the
Okay.
way over to the Eastern Shore you talked about.
Oh no, this is up in PA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called Skeeter's. It's a
Okay. Gotcha.
barbecue joint,
Okay. No.
and it was busy, but Zach kept hearing about it, and I heard about it before too, and
So it was good.
no, don't go there. I'm upset. We were
You're gonna get sued now.
we were so excited. I wouldn't say don't go there. I mean, it just wasn't. I don't know if it was just what we got.
It
But
wasn't like Punksy Phil's.
no, Punksy
You
Phil.
you and TJ went to that
Yeah.
Punksy Phil's or whatever it was
We
called.
did, and he was so
And
upset.
it was
"Dude,
horrible.
he's like, dude, where did you just take me? I said, Punksy Phil's, man. But we got brisket, and like the brisket was like cold, and it just didn't it had like no flavor.
Oh, my.
I was like, man, after this hard day of walking, I wanted some good brisket,
Yeah.
and it's no good.
That's weak.
It is weak.
That's weak.
Um,
Let's talk about weapons of choice.
yeah. So
What are you shooting?
I just shoot a Remington 870 Express pump action 12 gauge.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a Primos choke,
Okay.
and I'm shooting the Winchester Longbeard XRs,
Nice.
number 4 shot.
Okay.
That's what it's tuned in and shoots pretty good.
Right. I have a 870 Express pump as well. It's a 870 Turkey Express. It has like a 21-inch barrel. It's real short. I have a Remington choke that I believe it says Remington Turkey extra full when you pull it out. I think it has 2 extras in there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty tight shooting. I shoot the Longbeard shells as well, and I think a number 5 I think is what I was shooting. And I have a reflex sight on top of my gun, the little reticle, a little tombstone looking reticle that I can turn on, and I can turn it either green or red, and it has different dots and crosshairs and things, you know, that type of thing. But it's good to probably, I don't know, I'm confident to about 40 yards.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I am about 40.
Yeah, anything past that, it's questionable, you know, and it's not the ammo, it's not the gun. It's just anything could happen at that range, you know. I had a buddy at work this week here. He took off and he went out and he's using one of those new Stevens. I think it's a Stevens 410 with those TSS 410 shells. Those ones that are like $10 a shell. He killed a bird with it.
Did
he? Yeah, he shot
nice.
with the 410. I was like, that dude's my hero.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, 410 now. I thought it was crazy when people were starting to use 20 gauges going backwards. You know. It was like,
I've used
20 gauge. That's the way to go.
I use the same gun for the past 8 years to turkey hunt. Same gun.
I mean, I started with 12 gauges and I just stick with it. You know what I mean, I'm not gonna buy another shotgun for turkey.
I thought about it, you know, but for what? You know, I mean, I'm dropping them dead. as it is. So
Yeah, these ones pound them pretty good.
yeah.
But yeah, I I like the gun. I don't have a lot of turkeys around me.
Hmm.
That seems to be my main issue. And if I do, they've been pressured or they stick around. Since we don't have any ag, they like to stick around like people's camps or houses and stuff. And so I try to get out and go on the mountain, over where I bear hunt and deer hunt and stuff.
What's
And
your what do you say your favorite part of turkey hunting is? Is it the gobbles?
um,
What fires you up?
you know what really fires me up is when they start drumming real close and
Hmm.
it's beating in your chest. You can just
Yep.
feel that rumble.
Hmm.
They're so close, and you're afraid to move.
Yeah.
That's what really gets me tuned up. Cause like
Hmm.
it's like you just try to move so slow, you could feel it though.
Yeah.
That gets me fired up. Or if I got a hen that's just pop, 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 just won't shut up, you know, and I know she's just gonna drag a gobbler in.
Hmm.
So I get pretty excited about that too. I mean,
My
the
fa
gobbles, of course.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, if you don't get excited about that, you may as well quit hunting. I
Hmm.
mean,
My favorite thing is one is just sitting there at daybreak.
mm,
Listen to all the birds wake up. It's
yeah,
fairly usually a little bit warmer at that time. You don't have to wear a bunch of clothes,
mm,
and all of a sudden you just start hearing the gobbles. And then like the one I shot last Saturday, I mean, I'm just picturing it. It was like a movie. All five of these birds, three jakes and two gobblers, coming in full strut, moving, 6 inches at a time, sitting there fanning like this, their heads, sunk in and bright red, and sitting there firing away 10
mm,
yards away. I
yeah,
mean, my watch was vibrating, from my heart rate.
yeah.
I mean, I was pumped. I was pumped up.
Oh my! You didn't need to drink no monsters, huh, or coffee.
No,
You just
no,
all shaking already.
man, I was fired up. It was like a movie.
Huh.
Yeah, it was pretty
S-
exciting.
Yeah, I love. I really like. Well, I don't have a choice a lot of times. I like the run and gun, and that
Yeah.
I have to do that here a lot because uh, you know I don't do a lot of scouting. I'm not a huge turkey hunter. I'm
I'm
really not.
Yeah, me either, really.
I'm really not. In fact, there's times where like the alarm will go off and it's like, yeah, heck with this. I'm rolling over and going back to bed. I mean, that's how not into it I am
Mhm.
sometimes. Uh, but it's a long season.
I mean, you got a
Um,
month.
you got a month, and after the second week, you can hunt all day. So,
Mhm.
I'm not too worried about getting up early on a Saturday and going because, in another week and a half or whatever it is, I can go after work and I get off early enough that man, I got a lot of time, really. You know.
I've never really hunted the afternoons. I've never killed a turkey in the afternoon.
You know, I've I've killed some fall birds in the afternoon. When I was younger, I used to really be into turkey hunting, and I just got wore out with it. But when I was younger, me and my buddy Brian there, we used to take about a whole week and just like give up archery hunting for that week and just would stick to the birds and really zone in on them. And we killed a lot of birds in the fall that way, doubling up,
Mhm.
doing stuff like that. That was a good time. But I've never killed a gobbler now that they have this all day hunt thing. I've never killed one that way. Um,
Man, you
came
doubled up.
close. Yeah, we doubled up a couple times.
Mhm.
But I've came close to like last year I came close to killing one right before one was coming to roost.
Mhm.
And I tried to cut it off, but it just was to that point where if I moved anymore, it was going to see me and just bust. So I just kept sitting where I was, and it kind of skirted me a little bit. And it was just too far. So
Did anybody teach you how to turkey hunt, or you just kind of
nah, we kind of winged it. Me and my
winged it?
buddy. Like, see, like my dad don't turkey hunt.
So
Um,
he never turkey hunted when he was younger.
no, no, no. Dad didn't turkey hunt, and my buddy Brian there, his dad didn't hunt at all. So he's just outright country bunking kid, and so we were the same age, and we started hunting together as teenagers and things, and we just bouncing stuff off each other. Go out and try something. If it didn't work, we'd switch it up. And that's pretty much how we started archery hunting too.
Hmm.
We started archery hunting together, and using homemade tree stands and stuff. I mean, it was crazy with the stuff we used to do. He even had this old brining bow. It was wood. It
Hmm.
was a wooden riser brining bow with wooden limbs, compound. It's a compound bow made out of wood from brining. He shot his first deer with it. I think it was a 7 point.
Hmm.
It's crazy though, the stuff how far we've come already.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know,
Yeah.
it's wild. What kind of have you had any scary moments? I got a lot
Scary.
of them. I got a lot of scary moments in the woods I want to share.
What like a dangerous
A
situation?
dangerous situation or run into an animal you didn't like in the dark.
Um, I have not really. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I've had some situations.
No.
Crazy.
I'm thinking of all the times I was in New York with them guys. No, no. I've had all peaceful events.
Man, I've gotten being that I hunt the public land, and I even made a video rant about last year,
Yeah, I
my
remember.
my opening day rant. Uh, I got in there early. I got set up on the birds. The birds were coming in. They skirted me a little bit. Was going around. Some of them was going around, and this boyfriend girlfriend couple, whatever. They drove separate vehicles. They came in, headlights in the woods, fobs, beep, beep, locking doors, slamming doors, making all this noise behind me. And I'm like, oh gosh, I hope they walk away. Well, the birds started hammering in front of me. So they just sat down behind me and they didn't know I was there. And yeah, I didn't get hit with any BBs, but man, they were ripping right past me when that obviously a bird got in behind me and got between
Hmm.
us and they shot and they ripped right through. Man, they were flying all around me. And then this bird come flying, it come flying over, and I thought, well, they already shot at it. I put the gun up and tried to knock it out of the air, and feathers went flying everywhere when I hit that sucker. But you know what? It was right on a ridge that goes down to the mountain or down to the river over the edge of the mountain, and it's a really steep grade down. I tried to go down and I looked for the bird and I could not find it.
Hmm.
But man, I blew feathers off that dude. Oh boy. And then, you know, those those people came running down thinking that like they was going to see the bird or something, maybe, I don't know. Or like maybe it was wounded, they was going to finish it, or maybe they thought I shot it and was going to come look at it or something. But they started walking down toward me, and I hurried up, got some orange out and waved it, and then they just turned around and walked away. But that was my scariest, I guess, turkey situation, uh, of getting shot at. But the other
We
situations I wanted to talk about was running into bears.
I have not had that issue.
I've had I had an issue. I don't know how many years ago. It's been a long time. It was probably 8, 10 years ago, and I was sitting on a ridge and calling birds up over the edge, and I seen something coming out my peripheral vision to my left. I saw black, and I got ready, got the gun up, and here it was. Two bears appeared, and it was walking right across the ridge. It was probably a mother and a smaller female or something, like a second year bear. And they walked and parallel to me and stopped, and she turned, and it looked like she was looking right at me, like staring straight through me. And she's like maybe 30 yards at this point, and she woofs. And I'm like, oh boy, I am so busted because I figured she'd seen me.
Hmm.
Well, not knowing what was going on, I just froze. I just sat still. And well, this little fur ball that probably could have been stuffed in a 5-gallon bucket come running around the tree behind me
Mm.
and ran right past me. And what she was doing, she was woofing to that cub behind me, and the cub come running to her. And then the three of them went down over the ridge. But here I was between her and her cub, didn't know it. So that was pretty spooky. And then
Yeah.
the other situation I had was I was sitting in a laurel patch, literally, and calling and not really having any luck. So I was just kind of sitting there, just hanging out. And I seen something black coming out of my right side. And here it was a pretty big sow, and she had three little cubs with her. And same thing happened. I was just going to watch her walk right past me. And when she got right to me, I don't know if the wind blew from behind me and she caught my scent or what, but she's only like 25 yards, and she woofs, and the three cubs go up a tree right in front of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am stuck now. I'm never
Y-
going to get out of here
You should
because
have fought
those,
a bear.
ugh, I thought I was going to fight a bear because I'm,
That bear tear you up.
I was really spooked by this because once those cubs went up, she started coming at me. Not fast, but she started walking slowly at me. And so I started talking to her, and she kind of stopped, was like, oh, what's that? And she started coming again. And I put the gun up and took the safety off. And I was drawing down on her. I really was. I thought she was coming. And at one point I just like stood up and started yelling, and so she turned around and took off, went straight away from me. And as bears do, they get out there, I don't know, 25, 40 yards in somewhere like that, and they always turn around and look back.
Hmm.
And that's what she did. She turned around and looked back. She stood up on her hind legs and was watching me, and I waved at her and stuff. Well, when she came back down on her fours, she tried to circle me. I backed out of there with the gun drawn. I got out of there, and when I thought I had enough room between us, I started running. I don't know what it is with that area with bears and cubs and stuff, but
Well, you
I
never
got it.
know.
I got into a couple sticky situations there.
Hmm.
You know.
We did. Now that I remember it, when I used to go to New York, um, we did see a bear, but
Mm,
it was far away, probably a couple hundred yards away. But we did see
yeah.
one up there. Um, that was a cool place up there. We hunted back then. It was like 8 years ago.
Mm,
I've never been turkey hunting at that time, and I wanted to get into it a little bit. So ended up meeting this turkey calling company, and we made an exchange, with some promotion if they would take me, teach me turkey hunting or whatever.
right.
So I kind of got involved with that and kind of built their business a little bit. And they would invite me out. I think I went up there 2 years in a row
Mm,
turkey hunting. The first year, I had no clue what to do, so they were, teaching me, and I missed two birds within 5 minutes.
oh wow.
They called this bird in, and I shot, missed it, right?
Mm,
So the guy was like, "Oh, it happens, whatever." Um, and like 3, 4 minutes later, he's like, "I'm just going to hit the call again and see what happens." And they were big into box calling, and he could use his box call, man. He'd fire stuff up. So I'm just going to fire it up again. Hits it again. A turkey gobbled from the opposite direction. That bird came in like a string within 5 minutes.
huh,
Perfect. Came up this little hill, came up to the top, shot, missed again.
huh.
He's like, I don't know what to tell you.
He gave up on you.
Yeah, he did. He's like, That's twice. He's like, I can't do anything else for you.
He gave up on you.
Yep. So, and
Mhm.
I never did shoot a PA or a New York bird
No,
because I went the
no.
following year and tons of action. He ended up shooting one,
Hmm.
but never shot one. But that was up in Albany.
What's your favorite call to work?
Oh, man, I'm not that great at calling. A slate call I can work a little bit,
Hmm.
but I like that box call, and I'm getting real familiar with lately is the mouth call,
Hmm.
just because the ease of use. You have both
Yeah.
hands,
Right.
to do
Right.
stuff, and you put your mask and everything on. You can just work that mouth call,
Yep.
and that's all you need, really.
Yeah. I always have a mouth call in, and you know, my long distance call usually is my box call,
Hmm.
and if I have them coming, sometimes I'll be using the slate.
Hmm.
But once they start closing the distance and I get quiet,
Mouth.
if I need to do something, I do it with my mouth.
Hmm.
Just that, like you said, the ease, the hands free. You got the gun up. You know,
Yeah,
it's the best. I am not proficient with the mouth call. I can fool a bird here and there,
me too.
but I am not a good purr or cluck or
Nope, don't
anything
ask.
like that.
The only thing I'm doing with a mouth call is a yelp.
Yeah, I can do some yelping and some kiki runs. Like that's good in the fall, but uh,
Kiki runs.
yeah, man, got to do a kiki run.
I cut the crop open.
Did you? What was in it?
Goose egg.
Nothing.
Not a
That bird,
single thing.
that bird was hungry.
Not a single thing was in his crop.
He was gonna come eat you.
Yeah, yeah.
He was excited.
So what do you think? You think they're all spooked up, and not gonna see
Ah,
nothing Saturday?
I don't know. It depends on your locals, man. How
Mm-hmm.
if they
Been
snuck
hammering it
in
all
there.
week.
Yep, if they snuck in there and got on them. See, because some of these people are hardcore.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I had a guy at work take a whole week off this week to turkey
Really?
hunt. Yeah, he's the one I told you shot that one with the 410, but he
Okay.
has a second tag, so he's probably out there every morning. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, he took a whole week off just to turkey hunt.
Wow.
He was going to take a week off to go trout fishing. I was like,
Hmm.
dude, no, don't do that.
Well, I know for a fact there's like 8 or 9 Jakes there.
Hmm.
I seen them, and I know for a fact that there was 3 Longbeards. I shot one, so that's 2 left.
Yeah.
That's been moving around the
Well, you
property.
got good probability there.
Yeah, so we'll see
I
what
don't even know
happens.
where there's any at. I know there's the one there near the mother-in-law's across the road, but who knows who's been hitting that all week,
Hmm.
and if that bird's even in that area anymore.
So you
And
think
then,
you're gonna have better luck on public then?
yeah, I'm thinking just go out in the public and just do
Is there
some.
a good flock of birds up there?
Used to be, good flocks. I mean, that I know of one flock that every time I archery hunt, I could hear these birds off to my left. So I went over there and investigated. Well, here, not even knowing, I'm kind of on like the property line of the public, and it breaks off into private over there, and it's posted. Find out that the guy has a bird feeder up there,
Mm.
and the turkeys were going up there and eating whole bird feed. But they stay in that area because this guy has this. But they don't come over where I'm at. But I can hear them because
Well, maybe
it's
you need to do a little bit more kiki runs,
yeah, Kiki run or just sneak over on trespassing, huh?
right? Why don't you trespass? Hunt your own
Why,
state.
yeah.
I'm
Hunt
so
your
mad
own
at you.
state. Yeah.
I'm so mad at you.
Hunt your own state, Dave.
Yeah, all this
You come
hunt your
over
own.
here and you shoot all our PA birds and go
Yeah,
home to Maryland. What's the matter with
yeah,
you?
yeah. I'm killing all your birds. My
What's the
neighbors
matter
will
with you?
probably hate me. Um, yeah,
They will.
people are starting to comment now. They're like, "Hunt your own state, Dave." I'm
Hunt
like,
your
yeah,
own state.
I know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
that was funny. I
no.
sent you that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You
that was
did.
pretty funny.
Screenshot of that dude said that. Hunt your own
Yeah,
state.
yeah. I actually been getting a lot of comments over the past like this week on the
Yeah.
podcast. So that's cool. And
Yeah. For
I
sure.
just want to say thanks for everybody listening and um watching on YouTube and all that good stuff. The views are still climbing.
Yeah.
We're not going backwards. So I'm excited. Good luck to anybody going out there. And what's your final thoughts?
Well, hopefully by the time this video breaks this Sunday, hopefully
Mhm.
Saturday, I've shot one and have an update.
Yeah, be cool.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, wish me luck, folks.
Yep. Good luck to everybody, and good luck to Chris.
All right, man. Episode 19 in the books.
Yeah. Turkey Fest.
Turkey Fest
Later.
23. See you, folks.
Bye.
Subscribe.